Well then, welcome back to Newcastle United, where I have an end of season bumper, possibly episode for you. Due to my schedule, I've actually not played this for over a week. I've actually left myself with more of a cliffhanger than you have. However, I have played through the games in between, and notably, very notably, Chelsea have slipped up. What was going to be a three-way shootout for the title has become, please don't bottle this. I'm starting with this page because I haven't looked at it over the course of the season. You may recall at the very beginning, I believe we were predicted 6th, where Arsenal are now. Norwich were predicted 7th, that's not changed. Over the course of the season, we have gradually grown into 3rd. I don't know how or why, which players have done that, but we have grown into 3rd. Chelsea regarded 10-1 for the title, by the way. 10-1. And considering they have been the front runners for the majority of it, that's a little bit more surprising than us, apparently. Liverpool should have run away with this. Also, do not forget that Liverpool will be acquiring Haaland next season, just to make that worse. But the most fascinating part of this page is something I was not expecting, and that is that Diaz is in the Media Dream 11. Diaz is regarded as the 8th best player in the Premier League. He's directly behind Sancho on that right-hand side, if I scroll down. He's having a great season. There's the picture in the Premier League with 3 games to go. It is a 5-point gap. Liverpool have a game in hand, but again, they can just join Chelsea in that 5-point gap. If we don't slip up in these next 2 games, we can win it with a game to go. We're also still unbeaten. There's 11 draws, but we are still unbeaten. If I remember rightly, the Arsenal's Invincible season, there were a lot of draws for them as well. We're doing that, basically. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, 24 goals, leads the goal list, ahead of Ronaldo and Lewandowski. You can see where this season's gone better than last. Saint-Maximin's high up on the assist list. Castile's not on the clean sheets. I don't suspect he's that far behind. 13, 2 behind. Remarkably though, Eze, 7th player of the matches for Liverpool. Liverpool, 11-10 favourites for this title. So many players in that Media Dream 11. Lewandowski isn't regarded as their best 2 players, yet it's in the Media Dream 11. And yet it's Ebere Eze, that's their best player this season, apparently. But to get you caught up on the 4 games in between, the 2 tougher games actually were the 2 easier games. We swept Leicester and West Ham aside, both 3-0 victories. Diaz with a hat-trick in the first of those. He scored again against West Ham as well. Calvert-Lewin and Willock getting the other 2 there. Calvert-Lewin again against Southampton with a double. A penalty and Makoko on that score sheet. It was 4-2 at half-time, and 4-2 it stayed. When Southampton equalised for 1-1, I did worry they were going to ruin us again this year. We slipped up against them in the run-in last year. There was a bit of worry when they equalised, but 4-2 at half-time, 4-2 it finished. And again, 2-1 at half-time against Brentford, 2-1 it finished. Getting those last 2 matches done in the first halves. However, Brentford, not the most convincing of victories. Brentford have been a tough old cookie for us in general. We did beat them 3-1 earlier in the season, but historically, we've not had a good time against Brentford. I did worry it was going to happen again. Our run-in, depending on which way you look at it, is either kind or awful. West Brom and Burnley in the bottom 3. Everton away from home may not end up mattering, but it's not an easy fixture. I'm also not on the game day. Of course, this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's West Brom. Forgot about that. He's just congratulating me for overachieving. Thanks, Ole. It's worth saying, West Brom have a game in hand as well in order to get out of that bottom 3 at the expense of 7th place predicted Norwich. I still don't understand that one, if I'm completely honest. As alluded to on this page, I should just say, we could technically win the title in this game week as well, if both Chelsea and Liverpool slip up. Chelsea do play Man U FC. Liverpool play Southampton, which I suspect is going to be a slightly more comfortable game. As for team news, whilst the results on the pitch have been good, the situation off the pitch has got a bit problematic. Everything looks fine unless I scroll down, although most of the people are now back. For the last game, Toussaint was injured, Diaz was injured, Nianzou was suspended for yellow cards, and Barbu and Adeyemi also injured, Gagliardini injured as well. 6 players out. Not a fun time. It's the first time in history I've had both a goalkeeper and 2 central defenders on the bench. But the good news is Toussaint is available for this one, as is Nianzou actually. Don't know why I put Toussaint in the team there. And it's an interesting situation I find myself in at that front end of the pitch as well, because 3 people performing quite well. Castile's remaining in goal. Digne Mings is restored to the central defensive lineup. He's had good games since he's come back in. Soulé, Lamptey alongside Nianzou, Willock and Winks. Benacer is actually back for this one. Benacer was actually never out. I don't know why I said that. He just had to do the halfback role last time. Diaz, Saint-Maximin and Calvert-Lewin up front. 28 goals in total. That's much better, Dominic. That's what I wanted from you last year. Remarkably, it's only 2 changes to the starting lineup. Despite the injury crisis, most of it has been bench players. But away we go, and as this game starts, I'll just fill you in on, well, effectively the only other bit of minor news, and that's the Next Gen Awards came through. Makoko was in that on the second page. I can't remember exactly where, but somewhere amongst the 11 to 20 section. As Shashua there. You may remember that name, Shashua, playing for West Brom right now, because he is, well, last year, I don't know if he technically has already left Tenerife at this point, but as of last year, he was a Tenerife player. He was in the original squad for Tenerife when I joined them on last year's save. And speaking of Tenerife, they have a player in the Next Gen Top 50. I'm eyeing him. I might bring him in. Cavaloin, though, from distance, Tenerife have a player on that Next Gen 50 with a sub 10 million release clause. Definitely considering it. Benacer now in the box. Luis Diaz again. Willock this time. Save? Goal kick. The only problem with that is the fact he wouldn't join till the end of 2025 because he is 16 now, so you may never see him. But just for the memes, might bring the player in from Tenerife. I should say as well, because we've qualified for the Champions League already, the budgets are in, £138 million. I don't fully know where the money's come from. I mean, I do know where the money's come from, but it's not in the balance right now. So, slightly confused by it. Dina goes close from a free kick. I mean, have we scored one yet? I think we've scored one, and that's it. 3 players booked on our side. At half-time, 0-0. I'm going to tell them I'm not happy, actually. As Nianzao remains nervous, which is a little bit odd. Yeah, I sort of hinted at it. The fact that we've got 2 games against teams in the relegation spots that could try and get out of it, at this point in the season, these games can be oddly tough. Dino receives the ball there. Worth saying as well, West Brom, one of the teams to cause Chelsea an upset. I'm not sure I said those words in the right order, but yes. A De La Felo injury time goal dispatched Chelsea. However, Dominic, with another assist from Saint-Maximin as well, that takes him up to 12 and will break that 11 equals spot in the assist list. I think Bowen still leads it with 13. But Calvert-Lewin headers the ball past the goalkeeper and we'll take that. Yes, I believe Chelsea lost to both West Brom. I think it was Brentford who we just played last game and nearly slipped up against as well. Luis Diaz, Calvert-Lewin, probably offside for this one, hits the post anyway. So it's both fullbacks and Luis Diaz actually booked. Didn't see that one coming. Liverpool winning their game though, so it will not give us any titles today, regardless of what Chelsea do. And there's, well, a patch has happened that has apparently nerfed near post corners. And yet that's only the 5th one Mings has scored, and it's happened after the update. Like, Mings has not had anywhere near as prolific a season as he did last year, but the patch only came in between this episode and the last one. So I don't know what's happened there. I've not changed anything on that front, but it is amusing that he scored another one after the patch. Solanke, who we were warned about before the game, oddly enough, as being a threat. I don't think that sentence has ever been uttered in the form of Solanke, but never mind. Football Manager. I mean, that's just lumped forward by Saint-Maximin. I mean, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if he scores here, heck of an assist if it went in. Looking at the statistics, we are dominant. We do deserve this victory. It's 2-0, and Diaz coming back off an injury, probably worth bringing off. In fact, I didn't bring the left-sided player to bring on there, so Saint-Maximin switch over and bring on Makoko, please. Dini's yellow card. Simicast can come on as well. 15 minutes to go. We'll make one other change later on, I think. Nianzao, Willock to Makoko. Doesn't get to it, but Benacer on the eventual knockdown. Makoko's on the end of that one. Griffiths saves. John Swift comes on. If he's not a pacey player, I will be annoyed. Liverpool 4-1 up against Southampton. That's definitely not going to be our title today then. Benacer felt like he was offside. Another corner. Benacer, ball in. Not the greatest. Kind of just feel like giving Sesko some minutes because he's not really been on the pitch all that much in recent weeks. Naturally, going down to 1 game a week means the rotation players don't get a look in anywhere near as much. Benacer, Makoko's there. No, he isn't. Interesting ball back to the goalkeeper. Sule heads down to Nianzao and built from the back once again to Willock now. Makoko's in a good spot. Makoko's actually made his own space there. Gone round the goalkeeper. It's another corner. Ball's whipped in. Doesn't get to Mings and Timber deals with that. Makoko again. He seems to be involved with all of the highlights since he's come on this pitch. Makoko. Sesko's through. Well, he's taken his opportunity, that's for sure. Sesko off the bench with a goal. I mean, that's what you want to see, really. I'm sure he'll get more game time next year. We're definitely going to definitely give the Champions League a bit more of a go next year, especially with 138 million to spend. Don't really know where to use it, but I think realistically, the Willock spot maybe. Sule's asking for a new contract. He's going to get one at the end of the year. I mean, by far and away our best defender. Nian's out. So Maximan now. Make it 4. It's 4. And for a person with a lot of assists, he's only got 2 goals now. I'm kind of pleased for him, really. A goal to add to the statistics. Absolutely deserved. Not always been in the first team this season, Saint-Maximin. Bit of an awkward situation there with Saint-Maximin and Luis Diaz both effectively being left-sided players. But I've utilised him on the right more often than not this season as a result of that. And he's done fine over there. Sule, under the ball. Makoko, I mean, there's a chance for a 5th here. It's 2.5 minutes of extra time to go. And what I was concerned about being a tough old fixture, perhaps, against a team trying to get out of the relegation zone, has become somewhat more comfortable. Benacer, Saint-Maximin in again to make it 3 goals for his season. Well, he's got it in the goal. Not celebrating yet. It's awarded. Bravo. Hang on. Why did I say his 4th goal of the season? Did I misread it the first time? If that's his 4th, then that's his 4th. Oh, he's well on. I mean, you can't see him, but he's well on. And Saint-Maximin scores 2 goals in 2 minutes. I'm sorry. He gets 2 goals and an assist at least, and he gets a 9.3. What more does he need to do other than get a hat-trick, of course? I mean, 5-0. Emphatic. That, remarkably, is the first 5-0 plus of my entire FM22 so far, as I'm alerted to an achievement that does just that on Steam. And coincidentally enough, Liverpool also beat Southampton 4-2 in the end. Over to Chelsea for the next game tomorrow. See what they do. See whether this remains a 3-horse race or just a 2. Let's find out properly. It's 4 goals total, 3 in the league. But the in-game banner just shows you the total goals, so it was 4. Lamptey's now the remaining 2 games, which is actually hugely problematic. Mbabu is injured, which means Sule is going to have to play right back for the remaining 2 games. Burnley might be confirmed relegated by the time we play them. Okay, so Sunday's games do keep Chelsea in the fight and also have relegated Burnley. They did their best getting a 93rd minute equaliser, but that relegates Burnley, which means they'll likely have a little less fight than they would have before. Tell you what though, it is an interesting battle at the bottom of that table. 27, 28 and 2 on 29. 2 from 4 with 2 games to go. Also, battle for Manchester and Champions League football. That's Man UFC's game in hand sorted. Both Manchester teams on 66 points. Is goal difference separating them. That's a tasty situation. Oh, I forgot this, by the way. You may remember that Tarkowski went to Arsenal at the end of the first season. I offered him a job. Arsenal loaned Tarkowski back to Burnley this season. What was the point in leaving? Oops, I clicked the button. Click the right one. Not that our morale really needed that much of a boost, to be honest. Liverpool have already won. Manchester City have lost. Norwich have also lost. West Brom have won their game, which puts them out of the relegation. Actually, West Brom versus Watford, that was a relegation scrap. Oh, blimey. It's got even more interesting at the bottom. And for that Champions League spot in 4th. But Liverpool have done their duty. They're on 81 points. Their game in hand is this midweek. But it doesn't matter as long as we win this one. So Mbabu is back to play 45 minutes. However, I'm not including him because he's still being annoying, and if I play him one more time, I have to pay Wolfsburg £5 million. If I can't get this situation resolved, I kind of don't want to spend that money. Casteels will be in goal. Digne, Mings, Anel, Sule takes over the right-back spot. Worth saying, that's what the assistant suggested as well. Nianzao, Willock, Benacer middle, Diaz to Maximin Cavallo in front. Rest of it's unchanged. Harvey Elliott makes the bench. He will not be returning. Burnley actually have former Newcastle man Jetro Willems. They also have wonder kid, I don't know if it's former wonder kid, Ihatauran, which is difficult to remember how to pronounce. I feel like he was in the news recently that he might be retiring early for some reason. But Burnley with a non-English manager and a team that is distinctly not English anymore feels wrong, to be honest. That back trio, sure. Burn, Tarkowski and Pope, and I think they've still got Jack Cork in there. Otherwise, Tyrone Mings has scored again. So when they said they've made near-post corners less effective, what they actually meant was they've not. Tyrone Mings has scored 4 all season up until these last 2 games. Now he's scored 2 in 2. Well, Ihatauran is in and, well, blocked by Mings, who good at both ends of the pitch currently so far this game. Willems on the corner. Mings heads clear. It's all about Mings so far in this Burnley match. This highlight does continue, and no it doesn't. Digne, long throw. These are also apparently made less effective, although they've not really been that effective to begin with. Mings, Benacer. Anel on the edge of the box. Up for the throw-in as Cork dinks that to, well, just Nianzou, actually. Forward again. Willock. Diaz is there to put Calvert-Lewin in. What a spot from Luis Diaz there. It's number 30 for Calvert-Lewin. It's 42 games without defeat. Remember rightly, 42 goals is what Calvert-Lewin scored for us in his first season at Sheffield United. Nowhere near those numbers here, but 30-goal season, not going to complain about that. The spot from Luis Diaz there and the assist, sublime. There's a reason why he's the 8th best player in the Premier League. He's ahead of Bruno in that. Bruno Fernandes is on that list. Hope gathers that. You see what I mean about the long throws? Majority of the time, we don't even get the possession. They arguably cause a little bit more chaos than you would expect from long throws in real life, but majority of the time, don't get anything out of them. Luis Diaz, Benacer's in the middle, and I generally thought that was in the way that bounced, but misses. I should say, should we win the title here, I will just goal you the Everton game. I'm not going to disregard it entirely because unbeaten is still a thing. At this point in time, we are winning the title. Do not forget, this is an invincible season, which is something I've never done before, at least on camera. I think I did it before that, but that was it. That was on a very long save with a very good team. This invincible season would be by far and large my best league achievement ever. Like winning with Tenerife, when I did win with Tenerife, was ridiculous, but an invincible season with 11 draws really should not be winning the title. Willock, a great tackle there. We are destroying them, by the way, on the statistics. Gather possession again, and Luis Diaz with speculative punt up the pitch that time. Not quite as precise as the assist we just saw. Wood to Itaran, Sharon. Not a bad attempt. We're actually technically underperforming. Burnley with the ball early in this highlight in the second half. For Sharon's in, it's missed. I can see why they're bomb. I've just noticed how tight that middle pack is. I remember clocking that Spurs were just knocking on the door of that last Europe spot. Now they're 11th. I feel like that's in the space of one game. Saint-Maximin, though, charging down this right-hand side. He's kept the ball in, played it back to Benacer, back to Soule, who's quite advanced up the pitch. Oh no, he's right back. I forgot he's playing right back. Diaz to Calvert-Lewin, who might be onside. It's going to be reviewed, but I'm not certain. I felt he might have been on that time. Think it stood. Didn't get the announcement, but I think it stood. Yeah, I think he's on. I mean, that is precision. Couldn't really have angled that any better towards that far post. Don't even get to see the replay with the lines, but it's counted. Calvert-Lewin, 2 goals, assisted both times by Luis Diaz, who's getting his assist stats up as well. Soule. I mean, I don't think I've ever spent £42 million more well than Luis Diaz. Don't think that was good English either, but for a release fee, £42 million, do not hesitate to acquire Luis Diaz, everyone. I presume that's in his original contract. Get him straight away. Do not wait 2 years like I did. Soule's tired, but I don't have replacements at right back. Neither Saint-Maximin or Luis Diaz have scored, so it is an opportunity for someone to come on the pitch right now. Makoko on the left. Benacer can be replaced by Harry Winks. And Digne for Simicast. Just avoid a red card on the final day, although I don't know if that's his 15th yellow card for Digne. I feel like he's clocked up a few. For Sharon, terrible free kick. And Calvert-Lewin, well, he's in a bit of a wide spot here. Luis Diaz gets the ball back, though, and gets a penalty. That's a blatant penalty, unless it's a dive, but pretty certain this is going to be a penalty, which gives Calvert-Lewin an opportunity for a hat-trick. Again, straight down the middle. Nick Poco's, well, didn't matter which way he went. And viewers, it's happening, and it's happening emphatically. I'm so glad you get to watch it be like this, because anyone watching, seeing an unbeaten season with Newcastle in the 3rd season, will likely be a little bit surprised. Also, we win the title at Burnley. I mean, the last 2 games were away from home regardless, but it feels weird to be celebrating this in Season 3. I'll be honest, I was targeting the FA Cup this year. All the cups have gone a bit awry this season, but the Premier League, one of the ones I wasn't really anticipating, well, there we are. Seeing the fact that we were predicted 3rd by the end of the season, it is slightly less surprising than it was at the start when we were predicted 6th or 7th, and around sort of 25 to 1-ish, I think it was. The fact we've come in from like 25 to 1 to 13 to 2, the odds of us winning the title over the course of the season have dropped by effectively a quarter or to a quarter of their original odds. But yeah, we obliterated them. 4 goals on the XG pretty much, and 4 goals we actually scored. Absolutely brilliant. We're champions. I'm a little bit shell-shocked, to be honest. I'm not sure it's sunk in yet. Kind of wish Deeney got less yellow cards. I don't understand Deeney's yellow cards, I'll be honest. He's not like he's an aggressive player at all, but he just picks up yellow cards every damn game. I think there's an issue with fullbacks and yellow cards. I mean, that says it all. 4 years ahead of schedule. I think Les Ferdinand's piped up here. Yep, it is Les Ferdinand. Thanks, Les. It's now 9-2, the preseason odds, by the way. They've gone down even further. I don't know if this is actually affected by the positions, but sorry, they are the people with Premier League winning clauses. Those two. How is it two people that are already here and none of the ones I've signed that have those clauses? Yes, Sam Maximan's not had a new contract. Why in God's name does Sam Maximan have all these clauses in? Considering where Newcastle are now, and at the point that contract was made, why? I mean, that surprises me, the fact he's actually agreed to a relegation wage drop. All right, Alan. Oh, okay then. I was going to agree to give him one at the end of the season, but with 2 years left, I might as well wait a bit. Man UFC capitalise. Chelsea slip up more as well. No real surprises around Europe. The biggest one of all is the fact that Lazio mid-table in Italy. Nice currently third in France as well is a bit of a surprise. Okay, so I am just going to bring you the goals for this match just to make this episode not too long. But the key matches to pay attention to in the background here: West Brom versus Norwich, Palace versus Chelsea, Arsenal versus Watford, and of course the ones involving the Manchester sides, which is West Ham and Leeds are their opponents. Rose's derby on the final day to make sure Man UFC keep that Champions League spot. That's going to be a feisty one. And frankly, the only change I'm going to make, other than bringing Forster on the bench for the first time this season, he's going to get a number in the final game. Unfortunate. Is I'm just going to put Zagadou in defence over Mings just to give him a game. Also, Adeyemi's good for 45, so on the bench you go. Forster is retiring after this match, and his number is available, so I'll give it to him. Everton do have our former player Barco, who's on the ball right now, actually. Zagadou tackles him. They do have a player on loan from us who can't play, in the form of Arezzo as well. But Calvert-Lewin scores against his former team. 1-0 Newcastle 12 minutes in. Thank God that was a goal. Forgot that I wasn't meant to be commentating over the non-goals. 2 former players of Everton in our team. 1 former player of ours in theirs. It's one of ours, well, one of their formers, that gets our goal. 33 goals for Calvert-Lewin. And I think I know it's Man United scoring in the background. At half-time, it remains 1-0 here. I had to kick off again to see the results, but the key things: West Ham 2-0 up over Manchester City. Norwich beating West Brom away from home. Man UFC 1-0 up against Leeds, who have 10 men. Palace and Chelsea 0-0. And Watford are losing to Arsenal, which makes a 6-point gap for Man UFC over City there. Don't know how that's happened, really. And Norwich move up. West Brom move down. Watford move down. And Palace move up to 18th, which doesn't get them out of the bottom 3. But all change of the bottom. Anel scored a goal. It's a ridiculous goal. I was just swapping Zagadou off the pitch because he's on a 6.4 and booked for Mings. But in the process of me making that substitution, Anel's just smashed one in. Benacer out to Willock on this right-hand side. It's Anel there on the edge of the box and really has no right to be scoring a goal like that from a centre-back. Anyway, Mings is on the pitch now as well. Zagadou was a sending off waiting to happen there. Luis Diaz is a bit tired. We'll see what we do from here on in. If I can give Diaz a bit of a standing ovation off this pitch to end his season, that should not have gone in either. That's almost a shame for Casteels. He kind of deserves as many clean sheets as possible. Is this Casteels' fault? Possibly. Don't know if that was just the animations making Casteels look a little bit worse than he was there. 10 minutes to go, we can reintroduce one of our players of the season, Adeyemi, onto the pitch for a few minutes. Harry Winks for Willock as well for the final 10. And actually, as we enter the end of this, let's see how it's going around elsewhere. Arsenal 2-0 up now. West Brom have equalised against Norwich. I don't think that affects the bottom 3, though. No, it doesn't. Palace need a goal against Chelsea to get out of there, and Watford have to get 2. I think West Brom might have actually scored a second as Ming scores another goal. Yeah, that's near post again. SI, did you actually nerf near post corners? Because I've now scored 3 and 3 after only getting 4 all season up to this point. I mean, it was 13 last year. If anything, the cycle has been, it was nerfed between last season and this season, and now they've unnerfed it. That's what it feels like. And yeah, West Brom did turn it around against Norwich, but Norwich survived regardless on goal difference. But I've just seen two achievements come through on Steam, which will... Sorry. What? Burnley have signed Tarkowski. There must be like an agreement in this. In what is one of the worst bits of transfer news in history, went to Arsenal on a free, would have definitely played a bit part here if he'd come here, but didn't play enough and got loaned out, and now there is a mandatory or optional 5.5 that's been triggered. Anyway, 38 million for winning it. Medals for everyone, including Harvey Elliott, who really doesn't deserve one. And there it is. Invincible season. The 2 achievements, by the way, most goals and least conceded. So feels deserved in the end. There's the Invincible achievement as well. That took a little bit longer to come through. Along with a whole host of other achievements I've just noticed. Well, those achievements are a little bit spoilers for news pieces that will be following this end of season review. Well, I spent big money on Luis Diaz and he has repaid me with 11 goals and 12 assists. 23 goal contributions. Yep, worth that money. Anel, 19 starts. Worth 13 million. Moukoko free transfer. Ridiculous. Tsimikas for 15 million has been an outstanding second left back. Tariq Lamptey for 40 million has been largely a pretty good right back. Fullbacks in general seem to be a little bit tricky again this year. I'll take a 6.99 from him, and Toussaint for what we pay for him and what he does for us. Just shy of a 7 overall average rating for him. Not bad for a player who got relegated last year. And Fraser Forster didn't play a game in the end, has now retired. Thank you for the A+. I will say they gave me an F for drawing with Liverpool. They were disappointed with a 1-1 against Liverpool. The 1-1 against Wolves, they didn't mind so much. The one against Liverpool, for some reason, F. But there it is. Whole host of draws in that first half of the season, but second half, 27th of January onwards, it was an F for this Liverpool draw, and then a C for this Wolverhampton draw. I mean, I know one's home and one's away, but still. Forgot to look at the other competitions there. I do apologise. Biggest win, match to remember, 4-1 against Arsenal away from home. That was opening day, wasn't it? And goal of the season, Joe Willock versus Manchester City. You saw that. That was in a recent episode. Last episode, in fact. It's been a while. Calvert-Lewin, Luis Diaz, Benacer, Sam Maximan, and another Adeyemi rounds out the top 5 shirts. No new deals, but I expect a few of those to come through now, maybe. And there's our team of the season. Castiles, Digne, Mings, Soulé, Lamptey, Nianzou, Gagliardini, and Benacer, interestingly, not Willock. Diaz, Adeyemi, interestingly, and Calvert-Lewin. No Sam Maximan in the 11. It feels harsh. It feels harsh for the top assister to not be in there. I mean, 7 goals, 10 assists for Adeyemi. 4 goals, I think 13 assists unless he got in that last game for Sam Maximan. I told you, it's a bit of an issue that. Moukoko, not far behind on the average ratings either. Total output, somewhat less, but he had played less games. Record breakers, that was 16 assists for Sam Maximan actually in total. It was 13 in the league. 18 clean sheets in total for Castiles as a record as well. Player season, Calvert-Lewin, young player Adeyemi, can't begrudge any of those. We've seen all these. Toussaint were the most passes per 90 when he played. But manager of the month for February, manager of the month for April, and it would be a news piece afterwards. But manager of the year, that was one of the achievements. That was going to be a bit of a spoiler. And history in the making, of course. 92 points. It's not a bad total in the end, actually. 11 draws felt like a lot. But winning out the remaining that season, games that we probably should have been winning anyway. Oh, there's a lot of news pieces here. 0 losses is a new team low. Unsurprising. Diaz hails us for that. I mean, Diaz, mate, you're a big part of that. Players inducted. Diaz just goes straight in. Adeyemi goes in. That feels harsh on Sam Maximan. Anel goes on the bench. Castiles takes over in goal as well from Dubravka. Lamptey goes straight in a right back, I do notice. Otherwise, I think it's the same from last season, pretty much. Jamal Lewis and Miguel Almiron, pretty much the only players holding on that aren't here anymore. And Dubravka, of course, in goal, but that's unlikely to change. Club vision expectations. Build the new stadiums in the 5-year plan. Build the new stadium, not expand, build. Interesting. Next season, though, is just qualify. Well, next season just says top 4, although get to the semi-final of the Champions League. Improvements are happening as well. Win a domestic... Hang on. I'm confused by this. Why do we go from top 4 to best the rest to challenge? Why does it bounce and then win? So top 4, best the rest, challenge, win. I'm not sure about the yo-yo in those demands, but sure, okay, accept. End of season team meeting, they won top 4. I'll tell them I won top 4. Calvert-Lewin is... These are the awards I didn't get last year. Calvert-Lewin, maybe because I wasn't involved in any of them. English Player of the Year, English Players Player of the Year, top goal scorer. Well clear in the end, by the way. 29 in the league to 23 for those two. Adeyemi's Young Player of the Year. Well done, everyone. Manager of the Year we already knew. And in Team of the Year, these were the other achievements that were going to be spoilery if I mentioned them. But that was more players than I was expecting. Please explain to me how Adeyemi got into the Newcastle Team of the Year, but Sam Maximan got into the Premier League Team of the Year. Performances in competitions that weren't the Premier League, maybe. But Mings, Soulé, Lamptey, feel a bit harsh on Digne, but yeah, in fairness, he wasn't that good compared to those three. Had a good end of season to Digne, though. I think that probably wraps things up already. And plans to build a new stadium are already here, but it was in the 5-year plan, so I don't expect this to be quick. The main reason behind this decision is that the old venue, St James's Park, has high maintenance costs. I don't feel like that's an issue for the chairman, to be honest, or chairperson, I should say. It may be beneficial to build so instead of paying the high maintenance cost, just build a whole brand new stadium. I'm not great at business, but I feel like that doesn't tally. Ah yes, Tussauds unhappy I didn't play him as a ball-winning midfielder. Unbelievably, he didn't accept the fact that he's played well in that position. Why haven't you played me as a ball-winning midfielder? Well, we play half-back, and you've done well there. I'm very annoyed at this. What does it matter? Anyway, there's not much more I want to add in terms of this. You can look at Adeyemi there, 7.31. I can see why he's actually ahead of Sam Maximan. It's very fractional, though. 4 and 16 assists to 10 goals and 7 assists. Adeyemi's a little bit the other way around on the output to Sam Maximan. Sule third. What a player Sule is, by the way. Gagliardini's high up, higher than I was expecting. There's not really a dud in the team. Harry Winks here, the games he played largely off of the bench, 6.85. Obviously coming off the bench, you get a 6.6 basically a standard. Arguably, the biggest disappointments, Dina and Willock, both about a 6.9. In fact, Willock 6.95. Rounded up, it's a 7. No one, over the course of the season, has played badly, really. And with a £138 million budget, I don't know how we're affording this. Have we been given the prize money already? Yes, apparently. I do wonder if there's going to be a cash injection by the board at the end of the season. I don't know what to do with it. I feel like the front end of the pitch doesn't really need much change. I feel like the back end of the pitch doesn't really need much change unless Mbabu continues to kick off and I need to replace him. The goalkeeper situation, do not forget we've got Chesney coming in as a backup. That does not need any improvement. The one spot I feel I could do with the improvement, Willock. Other than Sam Maximan, the last remaining mainstay, 3 seasons in, I think it's a decent job from him, to be fair. But I think Willock, as the backup Mazzala, we don't really have a backup Mazzala, because Benacer likes to play on the right-hand side, despite being left-footers. And I've got 138 million to buy someone for that position. I don't really feel like buying anyone anywhere else. That could be interesting. I'll be back again very soon with those transfers, or transfer, depending on how this window goes. I'll see you very soon. Until then, what a ridiculous season. Ta-ra.